Hello and welcome to another Star Wars Old Republic video. In this video, we are going to be doing Traitor Among the Chiss flashpoint. I'm going to be demystifying a bit, showing you all the boss mechanics, and giving you some tips on how to do it faster, and letting you know kind of when you're ready for doing this flashpoint. A lot of players find it very difficult, and they tend to abort or avoid this. So, if you do have a stealther, you can just skip all the mobs in the first part if you don't want to kill them, and they can run straight to the boss. If you don't have a stealther, you can follow the route that I'm showing you here. So this is a way that's kind of fun to do some jumping puzzles and be able to skip a large amount of the mobs leading up to that first boss. It is a lot of mobs to fight. I'm not going to show you the bonus objective in the first part, as it doesn't really do anything extra for you. It just is an objective. It doesn't unlock any bonus boss. So as you can see here, this is the hardest part of the jumping puzzle. We're going to be jumping up onto this pipe. We go up onto the train, and then when you get on this next little piece up here, activate something like your rocket boots, 4-speed, whatever, and jump across. I'll show you that one more time just so you can get a good idea of how that works. I'm also going to be placing a couple markers here to give you a general idea of where we're jumping from and where we're jumping to. So this ends up skipping a lot of the area. Once you get that main hard part of the jump done, just run forward a little bit here, and we're going to have to go up on this roof line to avoid an invisible wall. So as you can see, my character here can't progress, but I just jump over that little invisible wall, and we're good to go. Drop down, there's some enemies to kill, and carry on until you reach the first boss. So as you can see on the map there, that was a pretty big skip. First boss. So I'm going to put a marker here. That's where I suggest the healer stand for the majority of the fight. We'll show you the mechanic in a little bit that matters for being in that area. The first main mechanic the tank has to deal with is getting out of that flame conal and pointing away from the group. There are also some ads that spawn. DPS can clear those up. When we see this red circle around the boss with the electric pulses, we need to run to one of the corners to get out of the effect from that gold droid. After the first set of gold droids, we can actually kill one of the droids to make it a bit easier to get out of the area. As you can see, that one's dead. We now have more room. I really don't suggest killing a second one of these droids that spawns gold circle. As you can see right now, it just respawned all the droids. So there really wasn't a big purpose in killing more than one of them. So you can see I got pulled into the gold there because I didn't quite get out in time. You take a little bit of extra damage. It wasn't too bad with being the tank and everything, right? So again, if you're the tank, just try and keep as much aggro as you can so that your healer isn't getting hit too hard by these extra droids that we're leaving up. And as a DPS, I really don't suggest killing more than one of them. It's kind of a waste of time. Now we also have this other mechanic where these mine droids or whatever they're called come out. They'll just move to a player. Once they turn into that kind of orange circle, you can safely get out of the circle to avoid their damage. Now you've killed the boss. It is pretty easy, the first boss. And once we're going on to the second boss, there's lots of fun. We get to knock enemies off the edge. Lots of ways to avoid killing so many. This grapple of death, just be careful here. A lot of times it will glitch players. They'll fall through. They'll die. So just wait a little bit before you pull the enemies up here. Hopefully everybody gets across safely without dying. And again, have fun pushing enemies off the map. I love it. Okay, second boss. This one is very challenging. Most groups choose to line of sight the ads at the start here. They do have a shield on them. They can't take any damage while they're shielded. So players just like to line of sight them, wait for the shield to fall off. The boss can't hit you in the meantime. This white attack from the boss, it's a pretty significant knockback, but it's not the end of the world if you get caught in it. Once you damage the boss enough, it will jump up. Use the 4 grapple points on the catwalks above to jump up to the boss. This mechanic here stops you from using any of your abilities, and if other players get caught in it, like in this example, it keeps spreading between those players. So we just showed you an example here of how it can keep spreading. You just keep chasing the boss around the catwalk, trying to keep the healer from dying to the ads, and then once the boss is low enough in health, it will drop down, and this is what I call the burn phase of the fight. Lots of ads will spawn during this part of the fight. DPS generally should just ignore the ads. If you're a melee DPS, you can kill the ads for a little bit while you're up top here before you jump down to kill the boss. If you're ranged, you should be on the boss the whole time from the catwalk. So this lightning attack, you want to wait until it's done before you jump down to kill the boss during the burn phase. As soon as that's done, everyone should be killing the boss as fast as possible. If you're really good, you can actually go down initially with the boss, and you can DPS for a bit, and then you can use the grapple points to get up when these kind of arrows show up telling you that you should jump up top, and that'll allow you to avoid that lightning attack. So as you can see here, because I'm a tank, I managed to survive taking some of that damage from the lightning, but it really does hurt. So you want to try and get out in time, or just wait until the first lightning is done before you jump down at all. This is a high DPS check to kill this boss, so you really have to have good DPS in your group to clear it. Okay, on to the bonus boss. This one for players is pretty challenging. You've got the support droid on the end that buffs the boss. You want to look at that buff on the right side there, and you see that flash? That breaks any stun or crowd control on it. So as soon as that flash goes off or that buff ends, you want to stun that droid with something that will last. It'll last 20 seconds. Here, I'm going to be in this very particular place with that crate to taunt the walker over here, and this just gives us a little bit more room for the fight. And of course, we want to be dodging any circles that are coming out because they do damage, and you want to be aware of that droid. It just released the stun, so it's now buffing the boss. You want to interrupt that, or you want to long duration stun it again. Now, as a tank, you want to be a little bit more careful than I was. You don't want to be placing those red circles underneath the boss. This big giant gold yellow circle means you're going to get knocked. Make sure you place yourself in a way that you don't get knocked off the edge. And again, as a tank, try and be placing these red lava things a little further from the boss so the melee can still hit the boss. Moving on, this is an achievement to do this on Master Mode. Don't even try and killing this thing. You could try it on Story Mode if you want.
Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't.
What you actually do is you pick up the fruit beside, you target the boss, and then you get a special ability that lets you throw fruit to discard the boss. Now, there's two ways to get the thing open up here. If you don't have a stealther, you can kill the first set of mobs on your way up here, and then you can just walk past all of these doors. You want the third last door. If you open the first door there, you'll get some ads that you're going to fight instead, but you know, the third door has the item you need. Now you're going to go back down, you're going to activate the console, and it will melt the barrier. Right here, if you have a stealther, you can just sap the mob and walk by. Otherwise, on the left side, you can see you got to walk around the edge to be safe. And again, you can get past both these without a stealther. Makes it easier. The laser trap puzzle here, the best way to do this, most players will just run through everything and you just skip everything. Follow the route that you're seeing on screen, and this will disable all of the lasers once you get through. If you're a little low on health for that last laser, you can be careful. There is actually a puzzle to do. As you can see, certain areas you can drop down a panel or the wall and there'll be a little button to click in there. I've never actually done the full puzzle myself, so I can only show you that it's there, not how to solve it. There is an interesting thing though when you get past the laser puzzle. You can actually sap this one droid and put him to sleep. One of the weird things. If you don't have that stealth, you're going to have to fight, and weirdly enough, this one droid loves to get stuck on top of the thing there. Alright, final boss. Now, I was playing with somebody who wanted us to try and line of sight the boss up to the top here, so I thought, sure, we can do that. Let's check it out. It's alright, it's fine. You avoid a couple of small mechanics, but yeah. There are two red long lines, beams that the boss puts out. When it goes out on a non-tank, usually you can avoid that one and dodge it. And if it's on the tank, usually that's the one that you can't dodge. You can just move a bit to see if you can get out of it. Of course, you don't have to fight the boss up there. I find it's more enjoyable with camera angles and such to fight it down here. The main mechanic with this boss is that a lot of times this boss will stealth, and then you have to be in melee range to be able to find the boss and attack it again, as well as there's a variety of hazards that you need to be getting out of. So you can see these whirlwinds floating in the sky here. If you're in melee range of the boss, they don't do anything to you. If you're not, they put you towards the boss. You can also see when the boss is stealthed in the later phase here, these red circles keep coming out until somebody finds the boss to attack. If players take too long to find the boss, he'll put this larger red circle on single player and teleports them. But in this situation here, you can see that someone was fighting the boss, so you run over to get in melee range of that person, and then you see the boss. So there you go, that's Traitor Among the Chiss. As always, have a great day, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
You'll pay for your interference!